A Conversation with Dragons by Ophelia Kee. Intended for a mature audience. All rights reserved. Copyright imposed. Do you want to read? Welcome to the dream. Transcription. Setting: the small conference room at Draoithe. Participants: the 7 protectors of the realm, the Grey Dragons. Interviewer: Eli Miller. Eli, are you guys ready? She had Jingles, her servant, contact each of the Grey Dragons individually. No one else knew about the meeting. She needed some answers for her book, but more importantly, she had a task for the Dragons of Draoithe. Ash, we are, my queen. Eli wrote on her notepad and then looked at each man in turn. Eli, answer honestly. I'm only seeking information for my book. This is an interview and a judgment-free zone. Even if your opinions don't reflect the council's decisions, I hope you know they matter. I'm not here in any official capacity other than that of a historian. I just wish to give dragons a voice. Unofficially, she was the Tiger Queen of Draoithe. The dragons had named her. She intended to use it, but she needed the dragons to want to take on the mission she felt needed to be completed. They needed to feel as if their voices mattered. There was no need to ask for permission or forgiveness. Learning how to navigate the Leendel and facing all the adventures she had with Luke over the last year had empowered her. So a tiger had a conversation with dragons. Ash, my queen, we're free dragons of Draoithe. Men among men. Only here has that ever been the case. Thank you for seeking our input. We are honored to serve. Eli nodded and began asking her questions. Eli, would you say the magic aided your quest to win your Valkyrie or hindered it? Flame, hindered it. Nightshade was broken, made wrong, and predisposed to running away from me rather than accepting help or anything else from me. Ash, I have to agree with Flame. Shut up, Smoke. Kira got caught looking for you. That whole situation is still confusing. Ember, I think in my case, it aided me. I mean, Flower is mine. She was always mine. Flower is still mine. She wanted to be mine, all mine. Eli grinned at Ember. His childlike glee at winning Flower was infectious. He was a bit crazy about hoarding her, but she liked it. It was cute in an obsessive way. The big gray dragon was just stuck on Flower. Char, I think if I'd known what Blue and Torch knew about collaring my Valkyrie, I might have done it. Ice messed with my head. Smoke, she collared you, idiot. Ice is an elemental. No way would that have worked. Blaze, I wouldn't have considered it. The whole not sleeping with my mate thing would have messed up any chance I ever had with Jewel. Lightning, that she thought I looked like a Greek god played more in my favor than the magic, only, I'd tell other dragons that sleep pants might not be a bad investment idea. Eli, sleep pants. That wasn't on the list of questions, but she had to ask. Ash, we're dragons, my queen. If the Valkyries request our services, we serve. Lightning, it was an accident. Blaze, it's a peculiar dragon problem. Perhaps Shruthin and Fury of all of us suffer from the conditioning of the rider system the least. Smoke, excellent skills for what to do when the quarry is caught. Ember, total lack of skills when it comes to the chase. Eli nodded. Ash explained the rider system to her. It was disgusting. No way would that have ever worked at Draoithe. If Luke hadn't been horrified, she'd have demanded it be outlawed. It sounded more like medieval torture, worse than what Blaze was capable of. Eli, are you upset with Luke's demand that dragons wait until they claim their Valkyries before requesting to join the pack? Char, nope. Best decision ever. Dragons only have the use of half their magic without their Valkyries. Flame, we were blind to that fact before we found them, just as we were blind to our memories before we joined the pack. Ash, it wasn't a hardship. We live like kings at Draoithe. My Valkyrie is a lady of the Druid pack. Hands down, We'd back the dire Wolf King's decree forever. I'm more the man I wish to be than I've ever been." Every one of the dragons was nodding in agreement. Eli noted that. They seemed pleased. If they hadn't won their Valkyries, it might have been different. "Eli, is there any decree Luke has made that you disagreed with?" "Blaze, Amrita Saint." The hissing started. The dragons all unanimously opposed Luke's idea that she be transferred to a human hospital for the blind. Even the red dragons had refused the idea outright, instantly. Ember, no way was she going to be shipped off to some crap human hospital. She's part of the pack. Smoke, we were right about that. What's right is always right, my queen. Eli, if it matters, I agreed with you. Eli smiled at them. They all nodded. They'd have backed Luke's decision, but none of them would have liked it. If she'd spoken against Luke, the dragons would have threatened mutiny in her favor. Eli, anything else? Char, Frank Grimes. I didn't like that. It worked out well, but at first, I was definitely against it. Probably because Javier was dead set against the fool, but still. Blaze, I couldn't see a better solution than Frank becoming possessed. The magic worked for Cyrus. I didn't realize Luke hadn't understood exactly what he ordered until the church meeting, but turning the fool contractor into a dragonsworn wouldn't have worked. Flame, Miles Hansen. I liked him from the get-go, even if I debated clawing his eyes out over Nightshade. Luke wasn't sure about the man, but Miles had dragon written all over him, literally. Ash, he even followed our code of honor. I learned not to question a dream inverter, but even I could see the conflict in my king over Miles. Blaze, Miles is enough of his own man to be Riruirek in his own right, as Laszlo is. I think that was the real problem. Luke was unsure of the man's loyalties. Lightning, Soleil fixed that. Women make homes. Even if Miles became king of the White Castle, he was oath sworn to Draoithe. The dragons nodded. Eli smiled. Most of the alpha males at Draoithe felt the same way. It was a good thing. Eli, why did you agree to let the gargoyles join the pack? Lightning, they're kindred spirits. They have unbelievably powerful magic that has strict limitations, but having them on our side makes everyone safer. Ember, if they had jobs and a position, they'd feel as if Draoithe was home. That means they serve better because it matters more. Ash, Rock might not have felt comfortable stepping over the fence to aid Estelle if he hadn't been a pack member. He had no fear. The pack would rescue him. It wouldn't leave one of its own. Eli smiled at that. The pack didn't leave its members behind or let them wander off alone. That was the central issue behind why all the dragons instantly opposed Luke's attempt to ship Amrita Saint to a hospital for the blind. Eli, how surprised were you to discover that Dross hadn't betrayed you? Flame, I won't lie. I was furious that he hit Vadi in the head with that brick and fled Laxmead. But that he was a traitor never sat right. Blaze, it just wasn't who the man was. Vadi was only 15. We were marching out to meet the enemy. Ember, things were messed up. It should never have gone down as it did. We should have won that fight, then Dross would have handled Daniel a long time back. Lightning, I'm torn between time. I think I have a better life as a dragon. I'm sorry Dross suffered alone and Vadi did too. But I wouldn't go back and trade the life I have now to correct the past. Char, I know that I'm way better off as a dragon. Ember, I can never fix my mistakes from when I was Ridire to Lord Sinid, but I'd claim Flower again, no matter what life I had. Swearing fealty and finding the Valkyries made even fighting the grotesques worth it. Ash, can I say something about the grotesques? I mean, Monty should have brought the light dragons, not just the scimitars. Eli, Monty shouldn't have even been fighting the damn grotesques. I agree. How did he even ditch Justin, anyway? Smoke, all I know is that the more swords, the better. Jag kicked some serious ass, and so did those damn spiders that came with them from the longest purple. Char: yeah, my opinion of incubus demons went up, right about the same time I learned they still existed. Reciprocity of information about the denizens of Tantala would have been nice in advance of this May dragons burning everything with that damn green ooze they call fire. Eli: I'll be sure to remind my son he needs to be more forthcoming with his intelligence in the future. Eli smiled and shook her head. Liv and Monty had done well for themselves rebuilding the Eyrie. Even if she'd been afraid for her son, she was still secretly proud of him. Eli: what is the dragon's position on Lucifer Leru? Blaze: I like the man. He's a bit out of time, but the void likely caused that. Flame: I'd like to know if Bushiasta is an enemy of Draoithe as I see Lucifer as an ally. Ember: if she is, then I vote to support the devils of Blar Elding in eradicating that evil. Lightning: we sided with King Lees and Phanuel to bring about the end of Meid breach, but that was to get at Elliot. Char: we took out Elliot. The magic is still not balanced. I see Bushiasta as an enemy. Ash: my queen, the Grey Dragons follow Luke's word as law, but we all see the bigger goal of restoring the balance of magic in the dream. Erasing Peter Elliot was a necessary step, but it doesn't feel as if the fight was finished. Eli: Luke hasn't spoken publicly about it, but I believe he feels as you all do. We also have the issue of the power vacuum Elliot left behind. Small-time thugs have been popping up all over the Domain and the Leandel. They too must be dealt with, or we wind up with a repeat situation in the future. King's Wild unwittingly deleted the Eternal Partners, but others still need to meet justice. Smoke: my queen, you have but to speak the words, and your dragons will hunt your enemies. Eli smiled at the pointed-toothed smiles of the men in the room with her. She was the Queen of Draoithe. She didn't often make requests, but the dragons never failed to carry out her orders. Her interview turned into a chance to correct some injustices, and Eli Miller was tiger enough to do just that. Eli: in that case, the first one is Leonard Stepanov. Speak with Firik. Smoke leaked up toward the ceiling. The dragons of Draoithe had an enemy. They were all grinning pointed-toothed smiles and nodding at one another. Eli greenlighted the mission to ferret the weasel from hiding. Firik would be sure Stepanov was working his ass off at Lion's Gate as soon as he turned up. Ash: my queen, on behalf of the dragons, we'd formally like to thank you for empowering us. If Luke Mendez granted us true freedom, Eli Miller made us truly invincible. Eli: nonsense. What good is a bound dragon? Smoke: don't tell Angel I said that. Smoke: my queen, I won't tell her, but she does know the answer. Ember: I think bound dragons are pretty damn useful. I mean, we helped the elementals craft the gargoyles after all. Flame: so long as I'm bound to my vampire, I wish to remain as I am whether it be useful or not. The dragons all laughed. In one way or another, all the dragons were bound to their Valkyries, and none of them complained. They wanted it that way. To them, that was where freedom existed. Eli: are there any plans for any more dragon weddings? Ember: there might need to be one. I have an old oath to my Valkyrie that will need to be resolved. The bonds of matrimony are necessary. Flower also informed me she wants children, and I've already spoken to Risk to learn how to give my Valkyrie what she wants. Ash: I'll speak with the Justice about warding the skies for the wyvern. Eli laughed. The little wyverns, fire drakes, and sphinxes were cute, even if the wyverns did accidentally set fires on occasion. Thankfully, dragons could afford to pay for repairs. Eli: I hope you'll consider me for the godmother role. I'm not much of a fairy, but I'm a serious tiger mom. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all for taking the time to help me with some of the research I need for my book. Blaze: should you have any further questions, the dragons won't hesitate to answer them. The dragons rose in unison and bowed to her. The whole collared identical movement thing was a bit off-putting. Calic was right to grumble at them when they did that. Eli nodded, collected her notepad, and left. One Leonard Stepanov would soon be a dragon-sworn servant. As other issues arose, the dragons were eager to do their duty. Eli still had a book to write.
Thank you for reading A Conversation with Dragons. For more stories set in the dream, visit opheliakee.com. Enjoying the AI audio stories set in the dream? Donate to support an indie author and help keep more stories coming. Your small contributions add up in big ways. I sincerely appreciate your support. Thank you. Ophelia Kee. Welcome to the dream.